Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our Governor, Ron Desantis.
Hello, Central Florida. Are you ready? Well, God bless you guys for coming out. I'm excited. You know, I thought about, given today and the holiday, that back in 1492, the Spanish had a flag that they would fly on their ship with an inscription that read in Latin, Ne plus ultra. And that meant nothing beyond, because they believed at the time that Spain was the furthest place west on the face of the earth. Well, Christopher Columbus sailed and found new discoveries in the Western world and obviously set the stage eventually for the founding of our country. But when word got back to Queen Isabella of Spain, she ordered that the flags be changed to plus ultra, which means more out there. And I think we look at our country, there's more out there for our country to achieve. We've made America great, but we can be greater still. And I think the possibilities for our country in this election are there, but ultimately we have to choose. Do we want to continue making good progress and making strides, or do we want to embrace American decline as represented by the likes of Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer? And I think that decline will be in a number of different ways, but I think one of the touchstone issues now in this election concerns our judicial branch in the U.S. Supreme Court. The Republicans in the Senate have a task in front of them, and they need to answer the call, and they need to fill that seat and confirm Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. And she's a great nominee, very impressive legal intellect, great resume, great mother with 7 kids, which, you know, we have 3, and that ain't easy. So I can only imagine what she's got to do. And she should be confirmed. But, you know, the Democrats are going to cry. They're going to complain. They're going to say it's not fair. But at the end of the day, it wasn't fair when they smeared Judge Bork in 1987. It wasn't fair when they smeared Clarence Thomas in 1991, who's a great justice. And it wasn't fair when they smeared Brett Kavanaugh in 2018. So I don't care what they think is fair. We're going to confirm her, and they're just going to have to deal with it. Now they say, wait a minute, you can't fill a seat, you can't fill a seat, this is crazy, you can't do it. And I think about their whining, and you know, I almost think about my daughter who's 3 years old. One of her favorite things to do is to play board games. She likes Candyland, and she always wants to win. And man, when she wins, she's just so happy. But when she doesn't win, she cries. And I tell her, Madison, you can't cry when you lose. You just got to try to win next time. But she's still at that age. She doesn't quite understand that. But I don't think the Democrats have learned that lesson now. They're mad that they didn't get a justice in 2016. Well, guess what? They lost the Senate in 2014. If they would have won, they would have had a justice. They had a chance to win the presidential election in 2016. They lost the presidency. They lost the House. And they lost the Senate in 2016. And then in 2018, this great Democrat wave, everyone said, and they not only didn't take the Senate back, Republicans gained 2 seats in the Senate in 2018. So don't tell me it's not fair when you lose election after election and then you think you should be able to make these decisions. I don't think so. But here's why it's important. I think Barrett's going to be confirmed, but what Joe Biden will not answer is a very simple question. because you guys didn't get your way, because you guys couldn't win those elections, and because justices were put on consistent with the law and Constitution, are you going to take your ball and go home and try to pack the court by adding new justices and putting it liberal activists on so that you can make the court an appendage of the Democrat Party? Are you going to do that, Joe? Yes or no? Answer the question. But he won't answer the question. And not only will he not answer the question, he recently said the American people don't deserve to know the answer to that question. So again, decline is a choice. If we want to see our institutions fail, if we want to see the independent judiciary destroyed, then just hand the reins over to Schumer and Biden, and these guys will do this, and the country will never be the same again. But we're not going to let that happen, are we? And oh, by the way, you know, we have a media in this country that really thinks highly of themselves. They think that they are the guardians of the democracy. They think that they're firefighters. They think they're searching for truth. Well, to answer me this, if you're such a guardian of democracy, why can't you get an answer to a simple question? Will you pack the court or no? But the media doesn't want an answer to that question because they know what the answer is, and they know that if the answer is out there, that Joe Biden will lose this election. So they're running interference for them and the Democrats, which is their party. We're not going to let them win. They were against us in 18 and 16 and every other election. So we're going to make sure that we don't have an independent judiciary destroyed and we don't have Biden packing the court. Another thing that's on the ballot, I think, is whether our country should be shut down. Biden has said if some scientist tells him to shut it down, he's going to shut down the country. That would ruin millions of lives. It would cost many lives. I think we're seeing with some of that. And it's totally unacceptable given what we know now. We cannot let that happen. If you look at the difference, Florida people can go to school. You can go to a store. You can do all these things. We're not going to let them shut our schools. We're not going to let them close our businesses. We are not going to let them shut down this country. The other choice we have is whether we want our country dedicated to law and order, or whether we want to see the rioting and the looting continue. I can tell you President Trump has stood by the men and women of law enforcement. When rioting broke out in June, Joe Biden was silent. Kamala Harris was actually bailing people out who had been caught rioting, sending them out of Minneapolis. And so as these American cities were ablaze, Biden didn't step up. He didn't exercise any leadership because the fact of the matter is he wasn't really opposed to what they were doing. Now he says he is, but when it counted, he didn't lift a finger. And I can tell you this, here, we were not going to put up with that. I called up the National Guard immediately. But we're not just going to rest on our laurels here. I don't want to play whack-a-mole. And so I've unveiled the strongest anti-looting, anti-rioting, pro-law enforcement piece of legislation in the country. And we're going to pass this. And it says some things very simply. It tells any of our local governments, if you defund law enforcement, then the state's going to defund you. And if local government is led by a spineless mayor like that mayor of Minneapolis, where they tell law enforcement to stand down and they let people get harmed and property be destroyed, well, we're going to waive sovereign immunity, and if you are harmed, you can sue that local government for your damages. We also need to increase penalties. I look around in places like Portland. They get arrested, they get a mugshot, and then they're back on the street the next day doing the same damn thing. In Florida, it's going to be a very simple message. If you loot, you're going to jail. If you riot, you're going to jail. And if you assault one of our law enforcement officers, you are going to jail. So we are a law and order state, and we need a law and order POTUS. We need the president reelected because we can't let the radical left empower this behavior. Now, I have a couple questions, and I need you to speak up because I do need to hear you clearly. But will you, over these next few weeks, go to the polls and make your voice heard? Will you convince friends, families, and neighbors to do the same? Will you support all of our Republican candidates that are running down ballot? And finally, will you storm the voting booths to re-elect Donald Trump, President of the United States? And if you do that, and if you get your friends and your families and your neighbors, I can tell you, on election night, when all the people in the media are licking their chops because they want to see the president defeated, the minute that Florida starts to turn and we get the vote in and the panhandle comes in, you're going to see all the smiles at CNN turn to tears, and they're going to cry. And we're going to have a great election night. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much. God bless everybody.